My name is James Delingpole, and I'm reporting for Breitbart News on the dog's breakfast that is Westminster politics. I'm going to be going inside the Houses of Parliament shortly to find out why it is that our MPs have failed to deliver on the referendum of 2016 when 17.4 million people voted to leave the European Union. Now, Owen Paterson is one of the irreducible hardcore of Brexiteers.
Well, rather hardcore, I see myself as a loyal mainstream Conservative who wants to see the manifesto on which every Conservative was elected delivered. And what we have is a constitutional first, and that is that the people were promised that in a referendum they would have the decisive vote. There would be no going back, there would be no second referendums, they would be sovereign, and we would either leave the European Union or we would stay in the European Union, and whatever they decided, members of Parliament would deliver. The establishment hates Brexit. The political establishment, which dominates the House of Commons, the House of Lords, the media establishment, as you see every day on the electronic media, the commercial establishment, as you see with ghastly organisations like the CBI, and I suspect the judicial establishment if they got their paws on it. The damage to the integrity of our democratic institutions, if we do not deliver this, will be absolutely shocking, because it's the first time we've had a referendum which has gone against the will of the establishment.
Priti Patel, where are we on Brexit?
Well, I think the public are looking at us politicians with bewilderment and anger because Brexit is not being delivered.
Yeah, I mean, is that democracy?
No, well, we're not seeing democracy in action at all. 17.4 million people voted to leave nearly 3 years ago, and we're still debating the merits of the referendum and that vote to leave here in Parliament.
How is it going to end?
Well, it should end, in my view, this Friday, when we leave the European Union. That is a new date. The Prime Minister gave a new date from the 29th of March, which was my birthday, to the 12th of April. And I think the public have had enough and it's time to leave.
Andrew, are we ever going to get Brexit?
Well, the amazing thing, isn't it, that 100 years ago we used to run a quarter of the globe from Westminster. But after 46 years in the European Union, it appears that our political class and our civil service, they're all hollowed out. They've lost their self-confidence and their self-belief. But it's a good job that the British people haven't lost their confidence and self-belief, because they voted to leave the European Union in the face of a stacked deck at the referendum. And that genie's not going back into the bottle. The British people deserve much better than this Parliament.
Just tell me why you don't want to go, first of all, with Theresa May's lovely withdrawal agreement.
Well, I've been called all sorts. I mean, in the ERG we've been called extremists, we've been called vermin. The Today programme called us neo-Nazis, and Donald Tusk has sent us all to hell. So after a while it becomes water off a duck's back, really.
Yeah.
So why don't I agree with the withdrawal agreement? Yeah. Because it means we don't leave the European Union. It's been very cleverly written to make it look as if we're leaving, but in fact you don't. You're trapped in a customs union potentially forever, just as one example. And there are lots of other things I could bore your viewers with, but if you're prepared to take my word for it, we don't leave the EU. That's not what 17.4 million British people voted for.
What do you say to all those people who are saying that the ERG has effectively sabotaged Brexit by being intransigent, not compromising, and as a result we're going to get an even softer Brexit than ever we could have feared?
Well, no, because the withdrawal agreement is not Brexit. So if we'd agreed to it, we wouldn't be sabotaged. Look, that would be sabotaging Brexit. Yeah. I'm sure that eventually the pressure from the British public will force us to do so. For instance, there was a YouGov poll a week ago that said 51% of the public now want to leave as soon as possible, even with no deal.
Yes.
And that's 9 points up on just a few weeks ago. So I think public anger is growing with the fact we haven't left yet. It's all sort of coming to a head. One way or another, in some very British way, we'll drink lots of tea and we'll be out in a few months.
Right, so tea is the answer. Drinking lots of tea, and the British spirit is going to get us Brexit. I found Andrea Jenkyns, MP, who's one of the soundest MPs in the House. She actually knocked out Ed Balls, who was the left-wing chancellor, which is a pretty big scalp to have claimed. So I think we kind of love Andrea, don't we? Are we ever going to get Brexit?
We will completely get Brexit. It's a nightmare at the moment. We're frustrated as hell. So is the country. We're peed off. And it's a sad place to be in when we don't even trust our own Prime Minister. But we will get Brexit because, you can feel the energy on the streets when I'm in my constituency, the anger there. Brexit belongs to the people.
Surely it's got to be the worst thing that's ever happened in our lifetimes in Parliament, this betrayal of the people, of the electorate, who've always been told that Parliament will represent your wishes and enact them.
What's the point of giving people a voice and they deciding they want to leave, and a million more people deciding they want to leave the EU and take control of the destiny of the UK if we're going to ignore it? What is the point of doing that? It smacks in the face of democracy, and we can't let it happen any longer.
And what about this latest excuse which is being produced by Theresa May and others in the party, that the reason Brexit is not happening is because of these stubborn, intransigent, I think you're called unicorns, aren't you? You people who've decided that you're not going to vote for the withdrawal agreement come what may because you want real Brexit. How is it your fault?
It's quite funny, play on words, come what may. May is the reason actually we haven't got Brexit.